He's calling the Super Bowl again with Troy Aikman coming up on Sunday on Fox. Joe Buck back with us. How many Super Bowls is this?
4. This will be number 4.
How do you prepare for a Super Bowl that's different than anything else, another game?
Do I have to put these on?
You don't have to put your headphones on if you don't want to. I mean, your hair looks nice. So.
My hair is awful. I hate my hair. But it's the way God made me.
If you could have Aikman's hair, what would you give up for?
Sky'd be the limit.
What would you give up for Aikman's hair?
I'd pay, I don't know. I'd gather everything I have. I'd get whatever cash I could put together. And I mean, it'd be 6 figures easily. Maybe 7.
Are there times when you're staring at him and you go, he's just a little too good looking?
I don't really like where this is going, Dan.
You don't? Okay. All right.
No.
So how do you prepare for a Super Bowl, and that's different than a regular game, or postseason game, let's say?
No, I've looked at him and I've thought, yeah. No, I swear to you, you sound like a jerk if you try to act like it's no big deal and it's just another game, but you have got to make it that way in your head. And I think the one thing I've learned from the first 3 is I've gone from, oh my God, I'm doing the Super Bowl, to, hey, I'm doing a football game, and let's just do it like I do every other game, because if I treat it any different, then I think I'm not going to be myself, and that's not good. So I just do the game, and I really believe that. In this down week, now we're in the week of, but if it's not in the national papers, I'm not reading a lot of the clips, just because it becomes overwhelming, and you feel like you just can't catch up.
We've talked about this before, where you'll get people think you have a bias for a certain team or a bias against a certain team. Here you have Seattle and Denver. Have you been accused of any built-in biases here going into the Super Bowl?
No, but I will be. I'm sure. I actually just shot a thing with Funny or Die. I guess it was Sunday, where I'm going around the city of New York, and I'm trying to do this puff piece about New York and the Super Bowl being here. And every time I start, somebody just blows me up about how much they hate me because I conceivably hate New York. Why would I hate New York? Why would I hate the Yankees? Why would I? But that's just kind of the perception. This is a Super Bowl with 2 teams that I don't cover a lot, but I'm sure there's always a group of fans who think that you get more excited for one side than you do their side. And the bias is really, in my mind, a lot more in the listener or the watcher than it is in the guy talking about it.
Hoping for bad weather?
Yeah, I mean, I hope for snow. I really do. I feel like we're here. We might as well. We've all wasted so much time talking about the weather. And the way it seems, I mean, just if you believe the forecast, it's going to be almost 40 degrees. So it's not going to be that much of an issue. But I think a little snow and a little wind whipping around, I think it would be a good thing.
Yeah, I think you're here with the elements. You don't come to New York or New Jersey in February and expect good weather. And, I don't want it to be where it's nasty for the fans. But if you're playing and the snow is falling, it's great. Let's be honest here. It's a TV show. That's what we're putting on, a TV show. It would look great on TV.
Yeah, I agree with that. But you're right. You don't want it to be miserable. The one thing that's always scared me has been ice. If you can avoid ice, I think, we're at a football game and it's February, and it's okay if it's a little bit off weather-wise.
You have the storylines here. You start with Peyton. It's his Super Bowl. How important is that storyline in comparison to any of the other storylines you'll play out?
I just think you have to fight the urge to just wear that out.
Yeah.
I think you have to just remind yourselves, and I say this on behalf of all of us that are covering the game, and maybe pregame as well. I think you can fall in love with the Peyton Manning story, and there's so much more going on here. It's a big part of it, no doubt, but if you start going down that path and you ignore what Seattle's done or how fun that team's been and how good that defense is and, how remarkable Russell Wilson's been in 2 seasons, I think you're shortchanging this entire fan base. Then I think you could be accused of being, one-sided or missing the other half. So I think you really have to, remind yourself. And I'll put little reminders on the board I have in front of me. Not just for that, but I have little notes to myself that are not always non-profane to remind myself to just lighten up and shut up and have fun and smile, and you're just doing a game.
He's Joe Buck. He'll be calling the Super Bowl with Troy Aikman joining us here in our Man Scraper. Could you mention me on Super Bowl Sunday? I don't know if that's – I mean, you're on the air for a while, but –
You do stuff at NBC, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what the hell are you talking about?
I had you on.
When?
Here, now.
This isn't NBC.
Yes, it's on NBC as well as DirecTV.
Well, it's not. I mean, come on. I'll have you on Fox Sports 1.
You will?
Yeah.
What if I stop up to the booth?
You'll be escorted out.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
But like nicely?
Oh, yeah. It won't be like hands behind the back,
Okay.
shoved down into a pile
All right.
and then
Okay.
dumped away. No, I look, I've said you flew in to play in my charity golf tournament years ago.
Yeah.
Before you really were, I mean, you were just doing Sports Center stuff.
That's when you first started working with Troy. That's
Right.
That's been a while.
It is.
Or Troy started working with you.
No, that's true. That was the first time I ever met him.
Yes.
Was
yes.
that night when he showed up, and I was like, my God, it's Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Look at that hair.
But you know what I remember from your celebrity golf tournament was a woman who had a forearm fetish.
What?
I met a woman who was in love with Tino Martinez's forearms. And she said, "Can you help me meet Tino Martinez? I just want to feel his forearms."
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. At a children's hospital charity golf function.
Yes, it's for
I
the
want
kids.
to feel Tino
It's for-
Martinez's forearm.
Yes. And then I
Wow.
saw his forearms and I said, all right, I get it. I mean, he
And-
had great forearms. So I told Tino about it.
And did you make this
He
big
said,
meeting happen?
He said, tell me where she is and I can move to the other side
right,
of the room.
no. Yeah, that's frightening. That's
Yeah.
I did not know you experienced that
Yes,
in
I
St.
did.
Louis. I'm
Yes, I
sorry.
did. Yeah, that's why I never came back.
Well,
I've
I
been working
didn't-
on my forearms, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Explain to us what was happening during Aaron Andrews with the interview with Richard Sherman. So you're in the booth listening to it,
Right.
and then all of a sudden it ends abruptly.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, as you know, there are different tracks when a producer's talking to, you know, if our producer, Richie Zients, who's great, can talk to me alone, he can talk to Troy alone while I'm talking. I mean, it's set up that way so that when you're talking, if the producer or director has something to say that doesn't pertain to you, they don't mess you up because you're talking and you don't want to hear something that has nothing to do with what you're saying. So all I know is I heard everything that you heard on TV. I didn't hear what was going on in her ear, and that sounds like a cop-out. But I just, you know, I don't get the whole, if it is a controversy, it seems like it's kind of died down. But we saw that coming in some respect because he sat down in our production meeting on Friday, Richard Sherman, and we're talking about Anquan Bolden, and he just flew over to the other side of the formation and said, yeah, that Crabtree's awful. He's just mediocre. We're looking at each other like, really? Because normally these guys don't say anything.
Yeah.
And he just went on about how bad Crabtree was. So when he went into that rant at the end of the game, you know, part of it was shocking the way it was delivered. And the other part was like, okay, well, he got his chance to say what he wanted to say because we weren't going to throw it out there and try and start something up. That's not my job. But he got his chance to do it, and he did it very well.
Would you have stayed one more question?
Well, I didn't see him. It wasn't profane. It was like WWE stuff, but it wasn't like vulgar or
But I
anything.
was told that your producer was nervous that maybe he was going there.
Yeah, and I could see that from down there. I think you want to try and avoid if
Don't you think
can.
it's all scripted with Richard Sherman? He knows what he's doing.
I agree, and I think looking back, I think he knew exactly what he was doing, and he got exactly the reaction that he expected. So if you want to applaud him for that, then great. I had no problem with it.
How does that? What kind of role does that play on Super Bowl Sunday?
It just seems so old and gone by now.
But maybe just his style, not what happened with Aaron, but just his. He's not even their best defensive back. You could make a case that Earl Thomas
makes that whole thing work.
Yes, but how much do you focus in? What reminds me of is Fred the Hammer Williamson with Kansas City against Green Bay, and he was talking all that junk in the first Super Bowl. And then he got knocked out in the Super Bowl. Like he was one of those talkers, and you see the Green Bay Packers saying, "Oh, the Hammer got hammered." Right. So I don't know if that's what happens with Richard Sherman.
Yeah, I think it depends on what the next chapter of the story is. If he gets beat, if he gets beaten down the field for some big play, then maybe you go back. But I don't see it being something that you start. I think it's part of the backstory, and you filter it into whatever happens on Sunday.
Do you have a poll question, McLevin, that I can ask Joe before I escort him out of here?
Yes. Would you rather be the worst quarterback ever to win the Super Bowl or the best quarterback not to win a Super Bowl?
Oh, that's a good one. Good job. Those glasses look fantastic.
They're new.
I was kind of waiting because I like your glasses.
Yeah,
too.
no, they're good. Oh, thanks. I would rather be the worst quarterback to win the Super Bowl than the best to not.
Really?
Because I think, you're always going to be frustrated the other way. I think if you're the worst that's won it, you think, man, look what I did. Look how lucky I got. I sucked.
Are those
Prescription?
Oliver Peoples, Paul
These
Sherman?
They're Barton.
McLevin, you're not doing the interview. I am.
Barton
It's
Pereira.
a glasses thing.
By the way, are those Prada tennis shoes you have?
They are.
Oh, my God.
You know who sold me on these? This will even ruin the whole thing more for you.
All right. Go name drop.
Howie Long. What? Howie Long has Prada tennis shoes. They're comfortable. Who makes that? That's not like a Champion sweatshirt you're wearing there, Mr. Cool Man.
I think it's Urban Outfitters or something
Is
like
it?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I try to keep it real.
I like what you've built here.
Thank you.
This is really
Thank you.
cool.
Thank you. I appreciate
Really
that.
nice. This thing?
That's flinch ball.
Yeah, I know. I
It's
saw
dangerous.
a whole thing on that.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
It's dangerous.
Think of where this has been.
Johnny Knoxville's crotch.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a shot at one of my guys during the break? You pick. Murderers.
I've known Fritzy for a long time.
I'm sure he's bothered you many, many times.
I mean, come on. Many times you got, hey, look,
All right.
I'm
We
sorry.
go way back.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I can understand if he chooses.
In
I
your-
would never do that. I would never do that.
All right, do McLovin then.
No. If
He
I
would
can take
never
a
hit
shot
the-
at the glasses, I'll
like
go
that.
up top.
You know, with your Prada shoes on, get up and, play flinch ball. Be a man of the people.
Okay.
All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy.
And good luck.
And
good luck
you're
on Sunday.
always welcome in the booth. That was
Seriously?
a joke, yeah.
But a shout out would be nice. That was a fake invitation, but a shout
I don't
out
know
would be
how
nice.
how
but
I
if you
know-
say, as I was discussing this with Dan Patrick on Tuesday.
Yes. No.
Okay.
No.
All right. When I go to Russia,
Uh-huh.
I'd be more than happy to drop your name on the air.
On the air.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So when I see Putin,
But mine comes first, and you can just go, hey, man, sorry.
I'll do it
Didn't
for the
happen.
next time you do the Super Bowl or the World Series.
Okay.
Don't play this game with me, Joe.
All right.
He's Joe Buck from Fox. He'll be calling the Super Bowl, his fourth.